What is up, everybody? It's Sam, and we are back with another episode of Pessimistic at Best, the podcast, and I am here with my friend Josie. Hey, JoJo.
Hey, what's up?
How are you? It's great to have you here.
Good, yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here and hang and chat for a little bit.
I know, it's so fun, and we're just having a sweet little Saturday morning. I love that for us.
Just a little sweaty Saturday from all our caffeine.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, right before we jumped on, I was telling Josie I'm on my second cup of coffee, and I also haven't eaten yet, which I feel like just exacerbates things. So I am sweating bullets right now, but it's cool.
Me too. We're just going to like buzz for a little bit. A little buzzy.
We'll be jumping off the walls. I know. Well, and for recording these, I don't always remember, but like I have to turn off the heat in our apartment because it just like is super fucking loud. And so, you know, it's probably a good balance because soon it'll get chilly in here and then I'll also be just like really highly caffeinated. So we'll see what happens.
Ultimate combo.
Yes. But I'm excited. We have lots of fun things to discuss today. And I don't know, this is just a sweet little time because I feel like, I guess the last time that we caught up was probably book club.
Mm-hmm.
And that was your read, wasn't it? I loved that book.
I did too. We read Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller per TikTok suggestion.
Book talk.
Book talk. We love it. That is where I live now.
Yeah, I need to get on that. I don't have book talk so much. Mine is just like only funny, which I like, but like I would like some book recommendations or like a skincare regime would be cool.
Oh yeah. The book talk is not great all the time because you get like the same 6 fantasy books. And I'm like, I don't want to read these young adult novels anymore. So I'm gonna pass.
I really did love this book, though. It was actually, it's funny, I was just at Joe Venuta's. We were having a bonfire last night, and he was talking about his book club, so I brought up mine. And I talked about this book, and like, okay, because Sophia put in that like free audiobook whatever for this. Yeah. And I don't normally do audiobooks. Like, I just don't have an Audible subscription, so like I don't do them a ton, but I like kind of started for this book because it was free, but because this book was so horny, I like almost couldn't listen to people say the things out loud. Like I was like, I think I just have to read this for myself.
Yeah, there's no way. I would have been like 2 chapters in. I'd be like,
yeah,
gotta
happening.
Switch something. Gotta switch something.
And like the voices. I mean, I like voice actors. I think they do really bring the characters to life, but because obviously, you know, they only pick people who have the most soothing, amazing voices ever. So like that part is cool. But then when, I don't know, like I was just like, this is like almost overstimulating. Like I like.
Yeah. When weren't they like soft British voices too? Like, yeah. Oh no, that would make me so cringy. Please stop talking about these 2 Greek man-child boys.
Yes, who are ridiculously in love. I mean, just absolutely insane. Yeah. But I really did love the book. And like you said, the prose was just so like, I don't know, it was just beautifully written, which I also feel like in that sense, it was kind of a treat to read without the voice. Yeah.
I totally agree. It felt like a nice little dessert read.
Have you started our next book? I have not. I've been very busy. I actually don't even own it yet.
No, I have it. I like got it from the bookstore last week, but I have not started it. I'm in another book club, so I had to finish that book first, and then here we are. I'm pushing it off.
We're meeting, I don't even know. I need to get my shit together.
August 11th. I just double checked.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get started. We'll have to get that on the Kindle later this afternoon.
Do it. Zoe says it's a quick read, so we should be able to fly through it.
I love that. I know. Well, and it's a perfect like gloomy day here, so I do want to read later.
Yeah, good day for it.
So I gotta get started. But yeah, I mean, okay, I guess some of the things that I had for us to discuss. I mean, you're out there in Denver, and you're one of our first friends to, especially like, I guess when I'm thinking first friends, like I'm more so mean out of all the Madison girls who all did stay put for college, like you were one of the first to move. I think you moved like pretty much right after school, didn't you? Because you had, okay, I'm going to say it wrong. AmeriCorps? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So kind of growing up in Madison and then going to school there for college, by the time graduation rolled around, I was like, yep, time to go.
Yeah. I respect
and
that.
especially like after studying abroad too, I felt like that was such a like little sample taster of being able to be away from Madison that I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. So, and I I had a couple of cities on my list, but I kind of always knew that Denver was where I wanted to be and end up, just because growing up, always came out to Colorado for skiing, and we come out during the summers. So, and I have enough family rotating through
that's always
that house
comforting.
up there. Yeah, that I was like, I'm not going to get homesick if I get to see everybody coming through multiple times a year. So it was great. And I have no plans on leaving right now, and having a dandy good time.
I love that for you. Yeah, I know. Well, it's funny, like because you were one of the first, but I feel like now the Madison to Denver pipeline, very strong.
Yes, very, very strong. We have paved that pathway. It's easy to get here. We're having a good time. We're vibing.
I mean, and it makes sense. Like, I feel like even when I was in Denver, granted it was COVID time, so I probably didn't get the full experience, but like, it's just like, it is like a big Madison. Like, it has very similar vibes. There's lots of outdoorsy things to do. Plus, I don't know, like, it just is a very similar kind of city. Like, it definitely has a city feel, but like, you know, you can go hiking every single day and probably be on a new part of the mountain, and that's awesome.
Yeah. And I feel like this is a little bit contrary to popular belief, but like, I don't love the city of Denver, but I love that I could drive 20 minutes and be in the mountains and go for a hike in the mountains, or go skiing and spend the weekend up in the mountains, you know? So like, the city itself, it definitely has its flaws, but the perks that come along with it, I'm like, yeah.
Totally. I know. I didn't really get to see a ton of the city. Like, the only day that we went in there was that day that we went to brunch, and like, we did the Union Station thing, which is cool, but yeah, I didn't get a full picture of it. It's funny because, like, obviously with so many people, I've obviously considered if it's on my list, but the one thing that I do not do is winter sport. Like, I really don't ski or snowboard, and that's so much the culture for, like, I don't even know, like 6 months out of the year.
Yes, definitely. And like, I think you would really struggle being out here in the winter, because that's what people do on the weekends.
Always.
They take like, you spend your days off skiing, you know? So if that's not your jam, you're going to be a little lonely in the winter time.
100%. I know. I mean, because like, I love hiking, but maybe it's more like I visit you guys in summer.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. But yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Obviously, I have bitched about it on the pod, but like at this point, I am one of literally the last in Madison, so I have to kind of calculate my next moves here, because but we'll see. My job now does have offices in LA and Chicago, and I don't really see myself as an LA girl, if I'm being honest, but Chicago, sure. Like, I love Chicago, so we'll see. But I was just telling James too, because we got like the notice from our apartment asking if we're going to resign. And I think we have to make the decision by April 1st. So,
so
coming
soon.
up. Yeah. But like, I think if anything, I might want to stay one more year, because I also like, I really didn't get that Willie Street experience, which I was really excited about. And like, everything's closed.
Yeah. I feel like you need to be there for a year when we're not in COVID and you have that freedom. But I guess with you two being remote right now,
I know, we could go anywhere.
You could go anywhere. Yeah.
Like, maybe I should just come and stay with you guys all summer and work
Yes, that would be amazing.
Exactly. I know. Well, and also too, like, a part of me is like, I kind of want, because okay, the way my job, it sounds like it's going to go is more of like a hybrid model when things do reopen. Like, I think we will still mostly be remote, and then they're going to use this space. The office space is almost more like a co-working space. So if you want to come in, you can. You're not going to have like an assigned desk or anything, but like, maybe for some of our major meetings, I would come in and spend the day there. But otherwise, like, I can work kind of from home as needed, which is so nice. Like, I think if there's like one good thing that came out of this in terms of the future of work in this insane country, is that maybe it'll be like a little bit more relaxed like that. Like, I hope so. A 4-day work week would be amazing, but maybe we're not there yet. But
That would be dreamy.
Yeah. But how about you? I know you recently kind of started your new job. I've heard a little bit about it, but honestly, we haven't really had a ton of time to talk. Just me and you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am in person for sure. So I work at a clinic with kids with autism. So I'm like a registered behavior technician, which, I bounced around a little bit. So not sure how long I'll stay, how long I'll be there, whatever. But I've been really enjoying it for the time being. So I get to hang out with one kid at a time for like 3 to 4 hours in a session. And we basically get to like play and do play therapy all day. And then occasionally we'll throw in like a little learning opportunity. So they will either do like a fine motor skill where we have them do like a peace sign or thumbs up.
I love it.
Yeah. So just like little things to work on those kind of skills. We'll have them interact with peers and wave and say hi and just kind of little things, but they kind of build up into bigger skills. But it's really fun, and the kids are so smoochy that
I love that.
They're so fun and sweet. So
because you said they're little babies, right? I mean, not babies, but they're like 5 to 6, aren't they? Or in that range?
4, 5, 6-year-olds. So they're just like little squishes.
I love it.
And so dopey and just kind of like flop around places. They're so funny.
That's amazing. Well, that's so fun. How long have you been there now? It's been a bit.
Since January.
Okay.
So a couple of months.
Yeah. That's awesome. Is that full time?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, for those kids, is that almost like a daycare session, or is it more like just like a little, like an appointment time, would you say?
It's kind of more on the daycare side. So none of the kids are high enough functioning to be in like a traditional school setting. So they come to us for 35, 40 hours a week of like therapy, like not therapy. They just like hang around and play and do little skills. So so they hang out for 9 to 3 or 4 during the afternoon, and they'll be with 2 or 3 different therapists during the day and just kind of hang out. Yeah.
That's awesome. I know. Well, and that's honestly a perfect segue, because one of the things I wanted to discuss was, I think you and I had like a similar college experience, and we just couldn't figure out what we wanted to do. I'm like, I still don't know.
Me neither.
But like, I mean, because and it's funny, I was even just talking about this with Grace, like my very first FIG that I was in, my freshman year interest group, I mean, there were ones for like nursing, and there were ones for business school that were probably a little bit more straightforward. Mine was music, movies in the 60s. Like, what kind of career track are you on? I don't know. But that's how unsure I was. Like, I was one of those girls who literally went into that very first orientation or whatever, like we're writing undecided in all caps. Like,
absolutely.
We don't know.
And I don't know if you can relate to this at all, but like growing up, when people would ask me, oh, what do you see yourself doing? I have no idea. Like, I cannot see myself in 1 year, let alone career path for the rest of my life. So I had like, people would ask me and I'd be like, I have no idea. I have no idea.
I mean, and back then too, I feel like we had such a limited knowledge of, and I still don't know, but like of all the jobs that are even out there, like, I'm thinking of the basics, like firefighter, I don't know, doctor, like that's just like the things you hear about. Like, I'm not interested in being either of those. Like, where does that leave me?
Well, and a lot of our friends have very, very straightforward paths that they have been very confident about, which makes me feel real hyped for them, but really insecure that I'm like, maybe I'll try some of this and then bounce over there.
Yeah.
And then,
like,
who knows?
Know. I mean, and because I tried to like base it off of my interests, but I sort of feel like I didn't even really know what those were. Like, of course, that's why I wound up in that fucking FIG. What a ridiculous. I'm just learning about people on LSD and like insane rock stars. Like, I don't know what's happening. And like, I knew I was a bad test taker, didn't really like math or science, but like that's about it. And like, okay, I liked writing, but you can't just major in being an author. Like, I don't even know, and I can't write a book. So so what does that mean? Like, so it was definitely hard for me. And I feel like you and I, like, if I think about, because we graduated in one of the same schools, right? You were in School of Human Ecology as well. Yeah. I mean, even that school, I just feel like it's one of the, I'm so glad I wound up there, but it's one of those ones where you say it and people are like, what's that? Like, what?
Like, oh, you're one of the soft sciences. Yes, I am. Thank you. Here. Yeah. Present. Yes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. I know. I mean, in my major name, well, because I had left school with 2 majors. So I was in comm arts and then retail and consumer behavior. Like, it's even convoluted when I say it out loud.
But honestly, I feel like that's such a good little mix for you. And right now you're doing exactly what your 2 majors set you up to do, which is amazing. And I feel like kind of rare.
Yeah, I think so too. I know it felt like a perfect little concoction, but it's funny because I feel like I also wound up in a similar place as people who did like B school marketing or people who did J school. And like for a little while I was considering going through the journalism school, but I was very scared to apply because I don't think it's like super strict, but like I know it can be difficult to get in. And that immediately I am not a competitive person. I did not want to have a hard time getting into the school. I would have been so disappointed. And so I just didn't even try, which is kind of dumb.
Oh my gosh, no, not at all. That's honestly what same thing happened with me, where I started out thinking I was going to go to nursing school because I was in a nursing fig. And then my grades came back from an in phys and I was like, probably shouldn't be applying. And even with like a career path, one of my like big insecurities is like, if before I do something, I need to know I'm going to be good at it. Otherwise I am not going to try. And I am going to make up excuses why I'm not going to try to do this thing because I don't think I'm going to be good at it. So that totally makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's like so spot on. I know. And then we kind of had to go and find our alternative route. But I will say, I think that was better in a lot of ways. Like, even I think a lot of people who went to the J school kind of could weasel their way into alternative jobs as well instead of just journalism. But there's almost something like journalism is such a like, okay, I'm going to go be a journalist. Like, that's how it sounds. Retail and consumer behavior, there's not quite such the
No, there is not.
No.
You got less strict boundaries for sure.
Yeah. Because you were human developmental I'm going to say
wrong. Yeah. Human development and family studies.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, and I will say, I feel like that falls right into the career category that you're in now.
Yeah. So I'm telling my parents, like, this is me repaying my debt to you helping me finance colleges. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, that's very true. I respect that.
Yeah.
I feel like I can finally say the same to my parents. I'm using that. I'm taking that. Yeah.
Me too. I'm like, you guys don't get to guilt me into how much you help pay for me for college because I am working in my field now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, for a little while there, I was a receptionist at a salon, but we don't have to talk about that.
Right. No. We just glaze right over that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I know. Well, and that's the thing. Like, I still don't know if this is like my forever job. I don't know if there is such a thing anymore. Like, I feel like maybe for our parents' generation, like my dad's been working at his job for, 30 years, but like, I feel like that's less of a thing now. Not that I have intentions of like leaving tomorrow, but like, I just feel like people bop around a little bit more. And I think that's more accepted.
Yeah. The idea of being in one field for the rest of my life is absolutely terrifying. And I like the idea of being able to try different things and kind of work out what sounds good and what I like and what parts I'm like, skip, pass, no thank 100%. You, ever again.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like that's kind of what college is meant to be in this way, but also you get there and then your second year, people are like, so what's your major? And you're like, what the fuck? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I thought I had some time to play around. Like,
yep. I'm still doing that. I will be doing that for the rest of my life. Like, what are you doing? I don't know. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. Exactly. I know. 100%. And like, that's the thing. I feel like that's how it should be. I don't even know who I am yet. Like, how am I supposed to know what career I'm going to find fulfilling for the rest of my life?
Do you have any of that like paralysis by analysis stuff? Like, do you get stuck thinking about it?
100%. Yeah. Well, and I really was, I think, during this most recent time of looking for a new job, because I started this job obviously just a month ago. Like, it hasn't even been very long. And I had really started looking for a new job kind of at the beginning of COVID, because that's when I first got furloughed. And then, I mean, I was working my hours back up slowly but surely, but I think that kind of gave me a little bit of clarity that I might be ready for something else, which was fine. And then I wound up, I would say that back then I was looking a little bit more intermittently. Like I wasn't looking quite as hard as I started to come like fall. And then I was like seriously searching for a new job, like, you know, on Indeed, surfing every day and trying to figure out what was next. But I really was struggling because I didn't want to move into, I'm really bad at quitting. Like I'm scared of it. It's terrifying. Yes. I hate it. And I also really hate being the new person at a job because you just don't know what you're doing. You're more of a nuisance than a help. And like, I really like feeling familiar. I think that's, I mean, I stayed at the university bookstore for 4.5 years, you know, like it's just like I like what I know. Right. And so when I was looking, I'm sitting here like I have to find my dream job right this second so that I don't ever have to quit ever again because this is giving me the worst anxiety of all time. Yes. But that was kind of stupid because I was writing off decent jobs. And even this one that I'm currently in and I'm actually loving, when I was like I interviewed for it and I was like, what am I doing? I don't know if I want this job. I have no idea. I don't know what's right for me. Like just going through all of and also some of that I know is just like me. It's like a defense mechanism, you know, because if I don't know if I'm going to get it, I might as well tell myself I don't want it. Yes. And then you're second guessing yourself. Like, do I really want this? Like, why am I doing this? I know. And then the second that they gave me, I mean, I got my offer letter and my first reaction was to immediately start sobbing. Like, like, always. What the fuck do I do? Now I have to make a decision? Horrible. But then I was like, it would be stupid for me not to take this because I just need to make a move. It doesn't have to be a permanent one, and I need to remember that. Like, easier said than done, but definitely. As long as we're just taking like little baby steps forwards, and like I've given up on the idea of like a dream job. I feel like I think it's a myth. That like toxic positivity. Back to what we were talking about before we started recording, like. I don't think it exists. And I like the idea and I find more comfort in the idea that it doesn't. So I know. I mean, and that's the thing because it almost sets you up to then if you're ever even the slightest bit dissatisfied with what you're doing, like you're like, this now is, I'm never going to get my dream. But like, it's not even about that. Like some of the things I'm doing at my current job aren't glamorous, but like whatever. If at the end of the day, I don't fucking like hate everything that I just did, like then we're winning. Like that's okay. As long as we're just chugging along, like I think that's pretty good. It's good enough for now. Yes. And I will say I complain about this job way less than my last one. Which is a great sign. So I don't know what I'm going to have for podcast content, but we'll do our best. Do you feel like you're over like the learning curve for this new job? Jumping in, like yes and no. I definitely am starting to get, it was funny, I was just talking to James about this. I'm starting to get more comfortable for sure. And then there are parts of the job where I'm like, I'm feeling really good right now because I think I'm just starting to get the hang of it. Like it's that kind of good feeling. But like I don't know if in a few months, like I'm going to love certain parts of the job, just like pulling analytics for some of the brands that I work for and things that like I would never find. And like, I'm feeling good about them now, but I feel like later they're going to be feeling kind of more like a little chore, but you know, so like, that's kind of interesting. Cause I was able to pinpoint, like, I like this right now, but I think I like it because it just is that good feeling of finally figuring out what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, and like learning a new skill, like that part feels good. So, I mean, we're getting there, but it literally has only been a month. And it was funny. I have like weekly meetings with HR right now because they want to know how like onboarding is going, especially since it's remote, which is kind of scary, but it has actually been going pretty well. But my HR meeting, not this week, but the week before, it's always on Wednesdays. And I was like, that week, we had also gone through a little bit of restructuring with some of the brands I'm on. So the person who was kind of overseeing my work wasn't anymore. Like she got moved on to some other clients. And then I just like completely, I was starting to get some of her tasks and I was so confused and I didn't know what was going on. And I was like, if this, like something, I don't know. And then, here's another thing. My To top it all off, they gave me like an orchid on my first day, just like a nice little, a sweet
little
thing.
Grocery store treat, sure.
Yes. And my cat tipped it over and it busted right at where the flowers were blooming. And I was like, this is an omen. I'm going to get fired. Something terrible is happening.
Immediate tears.
Yeah. And then, so that was like Monday and Tuesday, absolute turmoil. Things were just going insane. And then like it started to get a little bit better Wednesday morning. And then I had my HR meeting and I got on with her and I was like, she was like, how are things going? And I was like, well, to be honest with you, if you would have asked me yesterday, I probably would have been a fucking basket case. But like now today I'm feeling actually
You're like crying, better. The orchid is dead.
Yeah. Just tell me now if I'm getting fired.
Yeah, I knew this was coming.
Yeah, but it has actually been going well. So, I mean, it's one of those things. I'm such like one of my love languages is for sure words of affirmation. Like I need people to tell me I'm doing a good job, especially when I'm new. So I have been getting some of that feedback and that just like I'm through the roof on that day. We're ordering takeout. Things are good. Yes. A little celebratory glass of wine.
Sure. You got to celebrate for sure. That feels so good.
Yeah, so that it has taken some time, but I mean, I'm sure it was the same for you. And I can imagine, like, I don't know if this, because I feel like you are more, you knew you would be working probably hands-on with people with just the degree that you got, but that's kind of be kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because I'm kind of introverted that like working with kids all day is absolutely exhausting.
I'm sure.
But yeah, it was kind of the same thing too, where you are like in this high of learning all this new things and I'm still kind of there. I'm still kind of writing it and having a great time. But it's like when I project into the future a little bit, it's like, oh, I can see the tasks that are going to get under my skin once I'm off the high. So
yes, 100%.
I totally get that.
I also feel like that's so funny though, because I feel like you and I think about things in a similar way. And I will say, I think that's us being pessimistic.
Yep, absolutely. We're going to claim that and own it.
100%. Well, it's funny too, because I was thinking about this when I was even just jotting down some of my notes, because like you and I have had discussions about toxic positivity in the past. We both absolutely despise it. But something I was thinking about too, like you are always like a really, really good listener. And like there are like things when it comes to bitching about something. Like sometimes you want the person who's going to just like bitch with you, but sometimes you're like, no, you're kind of overshadowing what I'm saying. I actually really just want you to listen. You are always such a good listener. Like if I have a complaint, you sometimes will just sit and absorb, which is really nice. Because sometimes I feel like toxic positivity and someone coming back and saying something like, oh, it's not so bad. Absolute worst thing. But also next tier can sometimes be if like someone else is just like, oh yeah, my day sucked too, even worse maybe because XYZ. Yeah. And then you're kind of like, well,
fuck you. Fine. I wanted to talk about myself. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I will say, I feel like that's something I know I can always go to you for, which, you know, I don't always want to be bitching to you. I like to tell you good things in my life too, but.
Well, thank you. That is so sweet. I think about like when we got lunch the last time I was in Madison in like August, and it was right after I had been fired from my job and you were in a shitty place with your work. And we just like kind of, it wasn't like we were wallowing together, but I just felt like you were such a good support system for me too during that time. You. So I appreciate that. I could definitely say the same thing about you. And, you know, I love kind of learning about the way people communicate. And I think especially as like women and not feeling like I need to solve everything and just giving people space to speak and share what they're feeling is like the biggest gift you can give somebody sometimes. And knowing when to open up that space is something I am working on and hoping to continue to get better at. But I appreciate the compliment. That's so sweet.
Yeah. I mean, I will say it's funny that you bring that up because that lunch was just such a sweet day. I think we were both kind of going through a little something.
Yeah. And we were there for like 3 hours.
Like so long. I got actually really sunburned.
Yep. I came back home. My parents were like, what happened to you? Right. Like we just went through some shit. We just had a little therapy session at Dumpling House.
Oh, I love that for us. What a good place for a therapy session, honestly. Yeah, you have some lo mein and you talk about your problems.
Yep. It's dreamy. It's a dreamy little day.
Plus, that was like mid-COVID too, and I just feel like we also, like I hadn't been seeing a ton of people, and so it was just kind of nice to be able to go do something outside, sit with a friend you haven't seen in a while, like all of the things.
Yeah.
Because that day sticks out in my mind still. That was a very nice day.
Mine too. I loved it. Yeah.
Well, and two, something that I think, because here we are, I probably sound like some big fat bummer all the time talking about how much I love to complain and how much I value people who will listen. But like, I think it's important to, you also have to make sure, and I've noticed this, especially just maybe with like this year, you have to make sure you can listen. Like you have to put yourself first too, because sometimes you're not in a good headspace to listen to somebody else complain. You know, like that's also really important. And I think that can be hard because of course we all want to be there for like our nearest and dearest, but like you really do have to make sure that you have the, I don't know, just like the mental and wherewithal to take on someone else's burden, whether it's, you know, complaining about something maybe just light, like I had an absolute shit day yesterday, and or something that's heavy, because obviously like you know, our job situations I think were really weighing on us. Like, so I mean in that moment I had absolutely no problem, you know, sharing that and also receiving yours, but you know, sometimes it can be hard, and I feel like that's something that doesn't always get discussed.
Absolutely. And I feel like this year more than ever, I have had to like pull that white flag on somebody where it's like, I love you. I will call you tomorrow, but I can't today. You know, like, and that in and of itself is a really scary and a vulnerable thing to admit to somebody, to already be like, I'm empty. I have no more emotional intelligence to give anybody, you know, and I agree. I don't think it's ever talked about. And I think with our friends too, we always kind of assume people are able to listen to us, and like I rely on them to be a source of place that I can drop something heavy and help have friends help me hold it. So having to be like, look, I can't today. I will call you tomorrow. It's got to be some other time, even like in an hour or something.
Totally. I mean, and I think so much of that, like I will say for me personally, this just with every bullshit thing this year threw at us, I just really feel like this was the first time that I kind of had some of that myself. Like I don't know, this year took a toll on my mental health for sure. And like, that's not something, and at least in the past, I typically have struggled with a ton, which I feel fortunate to say, but yeah. And then I can, you know, I was like, yeah, I understand now, you know, like it, and sometimes it does take experiencing it yourself to actually be able to put yourself in someone else's shoes. Like I typically think of myself as an empathetic person, but sometimes that is really an eye-opening experience. And I was like, yeah, wait, I'm struggling. Like this is, you know,
what
like,
is this feeling?
What do I do? Do I make tea? What are the protocol here? Right. But yeah, no, I totally feel that. And that's the thing. Like, I think, and as a friend group, we've all known each other so long that I do feel like for the most part, people are very understanding of that, but it does almost have to be voiced because people don't know, you know, like that's not something people can always read.
Definitely. I totally agree.
But yeah, I don't know. I will say though, things are looking up. I know you just got vaccinated. There's something about spring and the vaccine all coming at once. I'm feeling a little bit more hopeful. So
I agree. It feels like we're at the beginning of the end.
Yes. Oh, fucking thank goodness.
Yeah. Such a relief.
I'm so ready. Well, and you, I know, I mean, obviously we literally just discussed this, but you just got your second dose. That's awesome. Do you just feel invincible? Like,
no, I still feel like death a little bit, honestly.
That's fair. I know.
But ask me tomorrow and I'm sure I'll feel like I should just go off without my mask, you know, no rules.
March into the, right. Exactly.
I'm going into every club in Denver.
Yes. I know. It's funny. Like, I'm almost picturing like some type of insane resurgence after this is done. I don't know if that's realistic, but like, I'm picturing like roaring 20s, people just going absolutely berserk, which like, hey, kind of sounds nice.
Right? I'm like, we have it all pent up energy. It's time to just pop that balloon and here we go.
It is funny though. I feel like I know you said you're kind of an introverted person. I feel like I'm a very extroverted person, but something about having spent so much time kind of alone or just with James or, you know, whatever, like definitely having a lot less socialization. it does wear me out a little bit more than it used to when I do leave the house. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'm actually kind of ready to go home. I'm a little tired. I'm feeling some type of way. Like,
how do you feel like your mental health has been impacted by having more like alone time?
I will say,
you know what I mean?
For a while, and I was bitching about it on the pod, that I hated it for a long time. I was like, I hate being alone. I just want to go do something fun. Plus, James is really good at being alone. So even if we're together in the house, like, he might have his headphones on and we're not actually together, you know?
Yeah,
so then hanging. I'm like, wow, I'm fucking twiddling my thumbs. I literally don't know how to pass the time by myself.
Right.
So that was honestly a learning curve. I think I've gotten a lot better. I mean, you know, I should ask him, but I don't think I've been like quite as like, hang out with me. Like, right. Because I was doing that for a while, and honestly, we were getting in fights about it. He was like, you need to leave me alone.
I need a little bit of space. Yeah. Thanks.
Go for a walk. I don't know. But I think I am getting better at it. It was interesting because I guess I didn't realize how much time I spent out of the house with other humans, you know? So then when that was taken away from me, I was like, what do I fill my time with? Like, I don't know what to put on what do I write in my planner? Read, book. Like, I don't like, it's like, which my 2020 planner, the worst thing. Throw it out, never look at it again.
Don't need it.
Sad.
Totally unnecessary. Yeah. It's funny you say that because when we went on lockdown, I'm like, I have been waiting my entire life for this. This is best case scenario. I have an excuse. Once COVID is over, I'm going to continue to use that as my, like, I can't hang out. I don't want to get sick. Like, we're in the clear now, but I'm not going to see you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I've also seen a lot of things in the reverse that are like I read a really interesting article. I think it was maybe in the New Yorker or something, written by someone who was just like, I am the type of person, like, I don't want the pandemic to end. Like, this has been so nice. And like, I really like having this, like, just like almost like allotted alone time, which like I get. And like, then there's some kind of anxiety about coming out of it, which I'm sure you can probably attest to. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The pandemic like wrecked me.
Yeah.
With my anxiety and depression, but like at the same time, I am having a great time.
Yeah, right. I mean, because there is something, I will say, even I don't like, it's hard to say no to a plan, you know, like it just is. You don't want to, like, you would rather have a reason, like, instead of just saying, I really am not up to it. That's hard to do. And so this just kind of gives you that foolproof, the solution to that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, kind of having a reputation amongst our friends and my family that I'm like a flaky personality, which I have totally leaned into and I will definitely accept.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, it's like I agree to something originally because I'm like, that sounds nice. And then time comes and I like can't mentally wrap my brain around it. And I'm like, don't count on me for that. Right. But I like leaned into it and now I'm like, you know what? I am going to set more firm boundaries and I'm going to start saying no and be more selective about what I want to agree to doing and then show up when I'm agreeing to something. So I feel like those boundaries we need to set. And that's something that like this pandemic has really taught me and helped me refine a little bit better is setting those boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Well, it's one of those things like I don't know. I think it goes both ways a little bit because I think as people on the receiving end too, like if you're making the plan, you probably need to also understand that not everyone's going to want to come. That's just the reality of the situation. Because like I feel like, I don't know, sometimes our friends could probably get butthurt when people don't want to do stuff. But like, you know, it's not a personal dig ever. No, like it's never. Just, you know, next time, which is cool. So I think it definitely goes both ways, but yeah. And I do think that this year, maybe because I had to spend so much time alone, like it's funny that you say that because I also feel like I've just been trying to do a lot more like self-reflection and maybe like work on myself. Yeah. Which is a part of why I started this little pod. But which is awesome. And like, I think it's so funny because I don't know like there's a part of me that's like, maybe I'm doing this because I'm about to turn 25. Maybe it's just like that kind of time. Or like maybe I'm doing this. But like, would I be doing this if it weren't for the pandemic? I honestly don't know. Like I can't say, like I probably would have just been going about my usual day. And so like being able to kind of just slow down a little bit has been really nice for a lot of reasons. I'm ready to ramp it back up a little bit, but I will always appreciate the time that I had to just kind of like, I don't know, you just get to actually consider things. Like before you're just kind of like going through the motions that you're not really sitting down to do the work. So that has been kind of cool and hard also at the same time.
So hard. It hurts. It doesn't feel good.
No, yeah. I mean, like, I'm like, I probably won't, I'm already looking back on some of the intentions I set for this year. We're not living up to everything that we said. But
it's only March, though. You still have
that's
9 months.
I know. I think I have to start doing some like quarterly check-ins or, you know, some like, yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I heard that on your last episode.
Yeah, so we'll see. But also that can be scary too.
To like confront the person that you want to be versus the person you are. And it's like, this is not the same person.
Yeah.
These are very different people.
Yes, on different paths. And you know what? that's actually okay, you know, for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think in a lot of ways we'll be better you know, on the outside of this, like just a little bit more, for lack of a better word, intentional, just with like ourselves and others.
Yeah, I think intentional is a great word for it.
Yeah, I'm ready for that. I think it'll be kind of nice. But I don't know, I guess, what's something you're really looking forward to post-pandemic? Just like literally anything.
You know, like I said, I'm having a good time. I don't even know. I feel like I have gotten into a routine where like and part of my anxiety is like being in crowds and being with a lot of people. So like I don't miss that part, to be honest. And like I could give that up in a heartbeat.
No more crowds.
Yeah, no more crowds. What else?
Honestly, they probably will be hopefully more dispersed for a long time. Yeah.
Probably having therapy in person, actually. That would be nice.
Yeah. Dude, I haven't done it yet myself, but like Zoom therapy, because that's probably what you're doing right now, right? Or is it over the phone?
Yeah, Zoom.
I just can't imagine it's the same.
It's just silly. And like, I don't want to cry to my computer screen. Right. Like, no, thank you.
100%, yeah.
Like, it's more embarrassing.
Yeah, right. Because when you really look at it existentially, you're just alone in your room talking to someone, right? Yes. Like, it's not the same.
Yeah, we can't go big picture with virtual therapy. We got to keep it focused, keep it 100%. Zoned in. Yeah, so that's kind of a mess.
Yeah, I really even didn't think about that. That is such a like in-person activity. You just kind of need to have the face-to-face moment.
Yeah.
Plus, I feel like in a way, I would be more inclined to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, like I just wouldn't even, I think I would be shielding some of the stuff that's actually going on just because of the setting I'm in.
Definitely. I'm like, she can't tell if I'm lying over Zoom. Yeah. Like, I'm just going to make stuff up. And I have been lying to my therapist. So, Carol, if you're listening, don't confront me about this.
Hilarious. No, see, the thing is, I totally get that. And like, people are like, always, you don't lie. Like, you're not getting the things you need out of it. Yourself. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes you just have to, a fib. Yeah. You know, it's more
a
of
little
a fib.
Yeah. Always, yeah.
Yeah. I fucking get that for sure. Yes.
Yikes.
Yeah. No, that's actually a really good answer. I think for me, one of the things I'm really looking forward to, and I think is just like, I don't know, like I am kind of looking forward to spending time with my parents again. I hadn't been seeing them quite as much, and obviously just because they're like the last people on the planet I would ever want to give coronavirus to, so right. I would just feel like a shit person if that happened. So, but like I feel like before, I don't know, like I hung out with my parents a decent amount, but not like I miss them. And like, that's not, you know, like I'm kind of like, there's a little something there.
Yeah. And it'll be fun to do activities with them again.
Yeah.
Like specifically like going out for dinner with your family and having little movie dates, like going like shopping with your mom or dad.
Yeah. Things like normally maybe if no offense, mom and dad, if you're listening, but in my normal life, if like a quote unquote better social activity came up, I'd pick that over my parents. But now I feel like maybe maybe the parents need to come first sometimes, like, oh, I miss
switch
those
up your
little
priorities.
guys.
Those little guys, we miss them.
Yeah. It was really funny though. There's a new brewery that, well, I don't know how new it is. I think it opened in the pandemic, but it might have been last summer. But I just went to it for the first time, and we've been actually frequenting it ever since. It's right across from like Majestic on King Street, and it's super cute. It's called Youngblood, and James and I hung out with my parents there the other day, and my mom was clearly having the time of her life. I don't think they get out of the house very much these days. She was just having the best time, and we were sitting there for a while having drinks, and then like we didn't want to be done yet, but we were getting kind of cold because we were sitting outside. And so then we were going to try to hop around, see where we could find a place to eat or something. And my mom like gets up to take our glasses in to the establishment to give them back, and completely forgot to put her mask on. And then you just feel like such an ass because you look like you just are being defiant or something.
Yes. Yep.
And like an anti-masker, but she's clearly not. And she like went in, and then also like we're calling after her, but my mom can't exactly hear the best. And so we're like, mom, your mask. And James went running after her. I forget exactly what she said, but he said something like, Chris, your mask, or, just like something. And my mom was like, oh, I forgot it, without like being like, I'll go get it. Like she just kind of was like, and he was like, yeah, I think you should go put it on.
Yeah, you need that. Yeah.
Like you're getting some looks. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else is horrified that you don't have a mask on.
Oh, but it was just a classic Christine Eckner moment. So
sure.
Yeah.
Once like the collective anxiety lifts, how like people are just on edge still.
Oh, so much.
Once that lifts, I think that will feel better too.
Yeah.
Just like a relief.
I know. Well, because I'm guilty of it. I was in like a boba place the other day.
Of course.
Yes, I was. And there was this woman and her daughter that came in, and whatever. She like the mom took her mask down to order like this. So I'm already like, this woman sucks.
Yeah, not necessary.
Then they come over. It's like a tiny little place. We're all just kind of standing there waiting for our orders. And she takes her mask down and talks to her daughter. And then her nose keeps popping out of the top. Of course, she's one of those. And then, which, I guess sometimes you can't help it. Maybe she had a big nose. But, like, really, you got to monitor that shit because we're in a small place. And then the guy comes, gives her her boba, gives her her receipt, and she takes her mask down just to look at her receipt. Like, and do, like, just actually raise your hand a little higher, and your vision will not be obscured by the mask. Like,
what in the world?
So I was just giving her the daggers. Like I was so one of those people. Like, you're the worst person on the planet now.
I don't know why, but I am more judgmental towards the people whose nose slides out of the mask than the anti-maskers. I don't know what it is.
Because like, monitor that. To me, it's almost like you wouldn't just like pull your ass out in public. Like this is, this is inappropriate. Like I feel like I'm almost viewing it as like you're being inappropriate now.
I don't want to see your nose. I don't want unsolicited dick pics. I don't want to see your nose.
Exactly. I'm the same way. I just feel like it, and it's funny too, because I mean, he's probably going to hear this right now. Hopefully he has his headphones on. James is in the other room.
Hi, James.
He kind of has like, a bigger nose, and sometimes his will, and I'm always the first to pull the mask back up. Oh yeah. No, we can't have, it's like, I like the term too. People have been calling it nose dicking. Yes.
Amazing. Perfect term for it.
Can't be doing that.
No, we cannot.
No.
Needs to end.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just really happy we got the chance to do this. I love chatting with you. Honestly, it's always a little therapeutic session for me.
I think so too. I had the best time.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited. And we got to do it again for sure.
Yeah, let me know when. I'll be here.
We just love a good complaining session. That's what this podcast is for. We're made for this sort of thing.
Yeah, we are.
Well, thank you to all of those who were out here listening. We fucking love you guys. You guys keep me entertained. You keep me busy so that James can mind his business while we are locked together in this home. And I appreciate you all so much. And I will chat with you again next week.
Bye.